When the sun comes up in Tennessee, there's no telling where he'll be. Maybe on some bayou way down in Louisiana, somewhere off the Florida Keys, fishing in the deep blue sea. No walls are gonna hold him, he's an outdoor kind of man. Derrick Beeler, Derrick Beeler, outdoor.
I'm an idiot with a fishing pole. Just get this whole thing. This is good. Well, I got movement. There we go. See y'all are out. I'm really glad he's better at the banjo than me. Today on Derrick Beeler Outdoors, we're going to be doing a little bit of fishing here on Norris Lake with Jerry Butler and Kipper Stitt. Kipper's going to be using a straight live worm, and Jerry over here is going to be using a spinner bait, yellow and chartreuse spinner bait, and I'll be going with the umbrella today.
The best way is to stay at home, and but if you are going to go fishing, you can always have your wife bait your hook for you. That's a good technique, but I really don't have one. I just, if I've got the worm on there and there's no blood, then I'm good. This is a worm. I don't know what kind it is, other than it's just a night crawler. Basically, I'm taking, the technique I use is put the worm on without piercing my finger, is the strategy I go for. There we go. And as long as it'll stay on, so when I cast, hopefully I won't throw it off. I generally like to cast it in the direction of those logs over there.
Should be working.
Yeah, I'm not catching any fish, but I'm getting a lot of bites off of those logs. So at least I feel like I'm doing so. I've actually done more today than Jerry or Derrick.
It looks like it.
Jerry's just been standing there, and I'm not sure with Derrick, but I've been doing a whole lot of work. So, you know, just for what that's worth. Okay, I'm ready to go now. Jerry, I'm getting down here because I'm tired of fishing the log.
Jerry, how long have you played bluegrass music?
I started picking when I was 12 years old.
12 years old.
12 years old. We had a little band back then called the Knoxville Newgrass Boys. Myself and Phil Ledbetter, Rodney Pearson, and Bill Lynch. We all were the Knoxville Newgrass Boys.
The Knoxville Newgrass.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your big influences in bluegrass music? What made you want to play guitar?
Well, watching the Beverly Hillbillies when Lester and Earl used to come on that show, I loved Lester and Earl's music, and that was, I guess, my first influences in bluegrass. Of course, I grew up with the real country music, you know, and later in Lester and Earl's career, they were doing a lot of stuff, Carter family stuff, that, you know, you hear Johnny Cash singing a song, and then Lester and Earl would come out with a song, and just that crossover. And to me, I put those two and two together. Man, it was just awesome. I just really enjoyed that.
What were some of your big influences in music?
You know, I'd say starting out early, it would have been my grandparents, my mother. There was picking around our house. My grandmother played guitar, granddad played guitar, and my mom also, and played piano, so I was always around music. And every Saturday night, Mom and Dad, we would watch Hee Haw and or Lawrence Welk Show, one or the other. So of the two, my favorite would be Hee Haw. And I tell folks that for me, that was my Grand Ole Opry. You know, I didn't grow up getting to hear the Grand Ole Opry, but I heard, we watched Hee Haw every night, and I'd watch Roy Clark pick the banjo, and man, I really fell in love with that sound. Of course, watching Beverly Hillbillies. So anyway, when I was 12, I wanted either a banjo or a fiddle for Christmas that year, and so my dad talked to my granddad about it. he said, well, let's get him a banjo, because that'd be easier to do than a fiddle, as far as learning it and all that. So anyway, they went to a pawn shop and found a banjo, and that's how I got a banjo for Christmas, and just fell in love with the music, started taking some lessons. And you know, at that time I just knew country music, I knew banjo music, you know, I didn't really know the categories. And so when I went for lessons, that's really when I learned about bluegrass music and the role the banjo played in it, and really got to learn who Earl Scruggs was and all that. And then I just at that point fell in love with it and started picking from there and looking for records anywhere I could find them, you know. If I was at a Kmart or somewhere, I'd look through the record bin to try to find bluegrass, and just started doing it from there, and just fell in love with it.
What was the first band you ever got to sit in with and play band with?
You know what? What we started doing right off the bat when I was taking lessons, one of the first things I learned about is that how important it was to get around other people picking. Of course, my grandparents, and like I said, my mom played, but to really get around other bluegrass musicians. And so we started finding out, trying to find out about where people were picking in the area. We actually went camping one time. There was a spot down there that we went camping regularly. It's called Moss Park. I'm from Orlando, Florida originally, where bluegrass music got its start. Oh, you've heard of Frontierland. Come on, Derrick. I mean,
that's where the first Cowboys were.
Thank you. That's right. So anyway, we'd go down to Moss Park and go camping, and I'd take my banjo with me. And so we heard some guys picking that they were also camping. So we went, and they were playing bluegrass together. Two brothers playing guitar, older fellas. And so I sat in with them, played a little bit. Well, then we exchanged numbers, and we started getting together and picking some. So that's where I really started trying to play in a band setting. And then we were at a festival down in Kissimmee, Florida, at the Bluegrass Festival they have there, and met some other fellows that had a band. These guys, their last name was Cloud. It was Charlie and Doug Cloud. And they had a band called the Cloudy Creek Boys. And so they asked me would I want to pick with them, you know. And so I started picking with them. And those are the fellas. Eventually, the name was changed to County Line, and they picked for years and years down in Florida as a band. And so those are the guys that taught me how to play really within a band setting. They taught me how to sing baritone, and that was really the start there for understanding how it would work in a band setting. So after I played with them 2 or 3 years, I was about 17 years old, and there was a band down there called American Bluegrass Express. You may have heard of Marty Raven. And so we got to know each other. Well, anyway, their banjo player left, and they were looking for a banjo player, so they hired me. And so I picked with Marty then for a while, and you know, helped him get his start in country music. No, I'm joking. I didn't help. I think he did that on his own. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to, maybe I'll play a little. I don't know. Yeah, if I can get some credit. He may not agree with that. So, but that's how I got it started.
Look here.
Here's how you, oh, never mind. You can edit that part out.
So growing up in Florida, did you do any fishing in the deep woods?
You know what, my granddad was a big time fisherman, and we would occasionally go. He had an old wooden boat, and so we'd head out to some local lakes around there, and that's my memory of fishing. We'd be going with granddad. We'd go to the coast occasionally and fish over there. Oh, I'll tell you a story, a fishing story.
Tell us a fishing story.
I mean, that's what the show is about anyway.
Right.
So I think I was 18, and we were going to head, you know where Port Canaveral is, okay, where all the ships go out for the cruises, which we're going to be going out this coming January on the Danny Stewart cruise. Just check our website for information. So anyway, living down in Orlando, we were like an hour from Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral, Kennedy Space Center, all that. Well, there was a little campground there called Jetty Park, and they had rocks that would go way out into the water, and that's where you could sit there and watch the ships come back and forth. And so we would go fish off the rocks. Well, we went fishing. Well, there was this girl that I had started dating a little bit that I met at church. So her family lived down south of there, so we were over there camping, we were fishing, and the next day I was going to go and pick her up. We'd go out on a date, you know. So we were fishing, we fished all day long and didn't catch anything. maybe a sunburn would be the only thing I got off of that. Well, finally in the evening, I got something, and I started reeling it in, and it was a bass. It was a big old sea bass, and so I brought it in. No, it wasn't. It was catfish. It was a saltwater catfish. So I started reeling in it, and I got it right up to the rock, and just as about I was time to grab hold of it to get the hook out, it spit the hook out and started flopping around on the ground. So my initial reaction was, that fish is going to get away. It's the only one I caught. Well, I was wearing flip-flops, so I stomped on the fish real hard to try to keep it from going out. Well, its prong was poking straight up, and it went through my flip-flop up into my foot. And so I picked my foot up, and there that fish was hung to the bottom of my foot through the flip-flop. Man, I kicked it off and started squalling in pain. You know, it hurt. And it was like 30 minutes later, it was still hurting. You know, I guess they got some kind of poison or something on the top of their prong. And so we ended up going to the emergency room and getting doctored up. So the next day, I was hobbling like this, and I was supposed to go pick that girl up and take her to the movie. So as we're going around here, I'm hobbling, you know, on my date. And so, you know, we never really went out after that.
Did you not?
So I'm not sure.
I wonder why.
Well, she don't like fishing, I guess.
That must be what it is.
That
That's
has
gotta
to be
be
what
what
it is, yeah. So that could be all it is. Well, there, that's my only fishing stories. And then today, here we are.
Jerry Kipper told us a very interesting story. Tell us one of your good fishing stories from way back.
I don't have any really good fishing stories like that, but I can remember as a kid, my granddad and I, we would do a lot of fishing. Granddad always had aluminum outboard boat, you know, the aluminum fishing boat. We would always go up to the lake, and Granddad would call over Mom's, and you know, she'd say, hey, he'd tell her, I'm gonna come get that boy, and we're gonna get up early in the morning, we're gonna go fishing. And man, I remember spending several days out on the lake with Granddad, getting up before the sun came up, and being out on the lake about the time daylight hit. And, man, we'd sit out there. I remember Granddad always kept in his tackle box a sleeve of saltine crackers, some potted meat, deviled ham or deviled meat, potted meat, whatever it was, and Vienna sausages. Of course, Grandma always fixes some pimento cheese sandwiches or the real thick bologna sliced sandwiches. Man, we would just have ourselves a big time. And we caught fish. Okay, if we didn't, then you know, it was just us having quality time together, and that was a lot of fun. We always had there was a pond right down below our house where I lived growing up. Granddad would come visit. At the time they lived over in North Carolina, and Granddad would come to visit or something. He'd call me up and say, hey boys, go down and ask that lady if we can come fish in her pond. Now that pond down there had some nice sized bass in it, and catfish and bluegill. Man, we'd catch a mess of stuff. We'd have the biggest old fish fry at the house in the evenings you ever saw. You know, just good memories of fishing with Granddad.
I had a great time fishing with you guys down here today. We didn't catch anything, but like Kipper says.
Yeah, that's why they call it fishing, not catching.
There you go. And you guys want to head back to the front porch of this town?
Let's do it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey Jerry, tell us a little bit about this custom-made instrument you have here.
This guitar was built by a gentleman down in Nashville by the name of Mike Long. It's a Mike Long guitar. This particular model here is a HD28. It's got the Mexican rosewood on it, Engelmann spruce top. It's a fine guitar. Mike builds guitars right there at his place in Nashville, and he's been at it for quite a while. I think he builds a fine guitar, and I'm happy to endorse his products and enjoy playing the guitars. I have 3 of these, as a matter of fact.
3 of those?
Yes, three different. There's I have a D18 style, and they're all different in their own way. But I think Mike builds one of the finest ones out there, and I'm proud to be playing them.
Okay, and your pick there is also a endorsement of yours.
Yes, Pick is another one of our endorsements. Matthew Goins down in Knoxville with the Blue Chip Pick Company, and these things are awesome, man. They don't wear. They play easy. They don't wear. They give good tone, and something we're proud to be associated with those guys too.
Good deal. Kipper, tell us a little bit about your own banjo.
Well, about I'd say just over 10 years ago, the folks with Own Banjos, Tanya Augsbury, her dad, Chuck Augsbury, is the one that started the Own Banjo Company, and she met with me at IBMA, and we looked through some of the banjos that she had and discussed doing a sponsorship. And so as I played through a few of them, this is the one that I really landed on. It felt good, and it sounded good. So I chose this one to play, and I tell you, I fell in love with the Ohm products. And the thing that amazes me, well, this is the Primrose model here, this particular one. The beautiful craftsmanship, everything from the detail, the engraving, the inlay, wood selection. It's a beautiful instrument to look at, but the quality of it, it's just like a solid one instrument, just one solid piece. You know, banjos have so many parts anyway, and to pull them all together and make it solid and feel good, and this is just an incredibly solid instrument, so I felt really at home with it right off the bat. So I love Ohm banjos, and I'm thrilled to be playing this. This is the only one that I record with and perform with, and so it's a beautiful instrument. And so they're out of Boulder, Colorado, and you can go to their website, Ohm Banjos, and take a look at their selection, and just everything they build there is amazing. So.
Tell us about some other of your and Jerry's endorsement.
Okay, well, he mentioned the Blue Chip picks. They also have thumb pick style as well. This is another one. The one, as soon as I played this, it was just incredible how good it feels. It's very smooth inside, and it fits really well, and you can bend it a little bit. But the material that they make, the pick part of it, is just incredible. It doesn't wear out. It never has. It gets a great tone to it. So I love the Blue Chips. D'Addario strings is another one, and our good friends over there have kept us supplied in strings. We love using them, and get a great quality sound whenever we use them. And so we're really thrilled to always be using D'Addario.
I want to thank once again Jerry Butler and Kipper Stitt for joining us on the fishing trip. You guys have a good time?
We had a good time.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Been a good day.
And also want to thank the Old Peddler Shops, as well as MidwesternTrucks.com. Check those guys out. And thanks again for watching Derrick Beeler Outdoors.
When the sun comes up in Tennessee, there's no telling where he'll be. Maybe on some bayou way down in Louisiana, somewhere off the Florida Keys, fishing in the deep blue sea. No walls are gonna hold him, he's an outdoor kind of man. Derrick Beeler, Derrick Beeler, outdoors.